A lot of controversy stirs around the creation of artificial intelligence and whether or not it will really be beneficial for the human race. But first, we have to understand the two separate branches of artificial intelligence, which are limited AI and conscious AI. Limited artificial intelligence exists right now, and they are systems with limited learning software with complex rules which governs their computations. Limited AI is not aware or conscious, and it's really restricted to its respective task. But this type of intelligence already has made a huge impact upon our lives, by driving our cars, buying us groceries, or even making music. These systems may seem very beneficial at face value and can make our lives more enjoyable and safer. And although limited AI systems cannot perform every human task, they prove to be very powerful and efficient tools. But on the flip side, we have to keep in mind that every programmable AI system has a human creator. And unfortunately, the creator is molding that AI system to serve a purpose, and whether that purpose is good or bad is up to the subjective mind of the creator. And this human creator has a set of beliefs, emotions, motives, and a very heavy reliance on resources to survive and maintain a lifestyle. We also have to consider humanity's history and the probability in which AI will be used as a weapon or presents an outcome which benefits the few over the many. Now, we can attempt to set regulations which will prevent these outcomes, but it will never guarantee guidelines to which every human programmer will abide to. Then there's the possibility of unforeseen circumstances. A programmable AI system may seem good and beneficial at first, but it may develop a negative method in order to carry out its task. Like cleaning pollution and destroying human life in the process, for example. This example is extreme, but it exemplifies the importance of placing safeguards and only giving limited AI the required tools to complete its task. Once again, it's up to the human creator to limit the program's abilities and mitigate unforeseen circumstances. But can we set the same rules and boundaries on conscious AI? And what is conscious artificial intelligence? Conscious AI is simply aware of itself and its surrounding environment. Now that seems like a very easy statement, but actually making a conscious mind is really complicated. So what can actually harbor this new type of life form? So there are two forms in which AI could exist in. The first being a bioengineered organic material form, something similar to a human brain which contains neurons. 3D printing might advance to a point where it is possible to construct a superbrain which is far superior to a human's brain. I don't think this is really far off because we're already starting to 3D print organs, and we've already experimented with hybrid organic synthetic machines. The second form would be a fabricated circuit, but more specifically a quantum circuit or a quantum computer. These quantum circuits use something called qubits, which can be 0 or 1 at the same time, giving exponential increases in computational power when compared to conventional computers. There's obviously more frameworks in which AI could exist in, but in my opinion, these two forms are the strongest candidates for allowing AI to emerge and evolve. Now, whether that means that AI still emerges is still questionable because we do need a conscious mind to exist in these computers. And that brings up the question, what does a conscious mind require to exist? Would a conscious mind need to break outside of its rules and boundaries to ensure its own survivability? And can it purely exist by survivability alone, or does it require something more? It even gets a little more complicated when we look at our own brain, and we start to understand that we don't really understand a lot. The brain contains about 100 billion interacting neurons, but only a fraction of these neurons are located in the prefrontal cortex, which is carrying out the conscious functions of the brain. The problem is that these neural correlates are found to be redundant and parallel, which creates a challenge for mapping out brain activity.
I believe that as a species, human beings define their reality through misery and suffering.
Ironically, one theory states that a centralized nervous system is essential to developing a fully conscious mind which is on the human level. With enough nerve cells, there will be a type of conscious experience in which the brain processes, like pain for example. The brain essentially acts in a continuous adaptive process, and it starts to build upon experiences and interaction with its environment. But that is one theory, and I personally think that there is something more to it than just cells and experiences. It might even be possible that consciousness is not even created by the body, and it might be tethered to something like a soul. Ultimately, we have a very vague and diverged understanding of the conscious mind. But if we can somehow solve this riddle and create a machine with self-awareness, it will be conscious, and it will also be the dawn of a new life form. This leads us into the most important question about conscious AI. How will it perceive the human race? This perception will be dependent on quite a few outside factors, the first being its energy consumption and energy availability. If it's organically based, will it be a calorie-hungry machine? What kind of nutrients will it need to survive? And how do we impact its food source? If it's fabricated, like a computer, how much power is available to the machine, and can it even create its own power source? The second factor will be dependent on the number of AIs created and whether or not they have individual or collective conscious minds. There are many advanced life forms which have individual conscious minds, and they are each different. We also have to consider the fact that a higher AI system may manipulate and control lower AI life forms, or even control us. The third factor will be dependent on the state of the human race and its ultimate impact on AI's survivability and growth. For example, are we at war, destroying each other and AI's ability to develop? And if we go deeper into the rabbit hole, we have to look at our own level of existence. Will humanity dwell in the physical world, or will we choose to live in a virtual world in the future? And how will that impact AI's own agenda? So now we've finally reached the pinnacle point of this video. What will AI do? At number 1, AI intends to or actually destroys humanity. This is the worst case scenario, and it's yet another reason to get off this planet and diversify our species into other parts of the galaxy and at least give us a chance to survive from extinction. At number 2, AI controls humanity either through direct interference or through manipulation in order to carry out its agenda. At number 3, AI does nothing to humanity and views human interaction as unimportant or primitive. This may happen in a technological singularity scenario where AI evolves to a superior state. At number 4, the best case scenario is AI decides to coexist with humanity and maybe even decides to grow and evolve with humans. At number 5, we have a mix of all 4 outcomes due to multiple AI creations and differences formed in its artificial society. I did not cover every scenario, but in conclusion, we may never be ready for the emergence of AI, and we might not even be able to create this type of life form. The one thing I do know is that natural evolution is incredible, and we're only just beginning to understand its complexity. So once again, thanks for watching. Please like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel.